Leave America, two kids follow her.
Oh,
That's
okay.
about Olivia Wilde.
All right. I'm not a Harry Stylesologist, so I will
No,
leave it to
neither
your
am I, but that
interpretation.
line was like, ooh. First of all, we've been following Ezra Miller for a while now, and every week is some new thing. And now they are saying that they are seeking help. They are seeking treatment for complex mental issues. And, they were arrested recently in connection with a burglary in Vermont, all kinds of reports of erratic behavior in various countries. That supposedly they have a farm in Vermont with like a mom and a bunch of kids. Every week is some new crazy headline. And then mixed in with that is what's going to happen with the Flash. And we don't know, but we know that they are finally saying, I know I've caused a lot of damage and I'm so sorry and I'm getting help.
This is one of those stories that goes in two directions, where either somebody understands that they need help, that they need to figure out what's going on with themselves, or it ends in tragedy. And I think the Ezra Miller story just gets weirder and weirder as the weeks go by, and these an assault in Hawaii, and then the farm thing, and the breaking and entering, and as has been rightly pointed out, they're canceling the Batgirl movie, but we can't not do Flash. Anyway, I'm glad that they are taking that first step, and so the hard work begins. We'll see what happens.
We will keep following this, and then kind of along the same lines, and speaking of the need to seek mental health and just take a break, Tom Holland is taking a break from social media. He posted a video. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine what it's like to be Tom Holland?
I cannot.
And people just like weighing in constantly on everything that you do in your life and your romance when you're involved with somebody famous too, like Zendaya. And so he posted a really sweet video on Instagram saying, like, I'm taking a break. I have not been here in a little while, but here's why. And like, I feel like even if you're not Tom Holland, maybe it's okay to not be on social media all the time.
Look, if it weren't like an actual part of my job, if I didn't have stuff to constantly promote, podcasts and articles and reviews and books and whatnot, yeah, believe me, the thought of walking away from it always sounds real appealing.
I think you would miss people. If I know you interact a lot on a variety of topics, I think you would miss people. We have created a nice little community here, I feel like.
I like to think so,
of
yes.
Civilized and thoughtful and kind-hearted people.
Day social media people are the best. Let's be very clear about that. At BeFast All Day.
Indeed. And all your platforms. Johnny Depp is going to direct a film for the first time in 25 years. Have you seen the first film he directed, The Brave?
No one has. I mean, like that. Well, not no one. It screened at the Cannes Film Festival. It got a European release. I don't think it ever got an official theatrical or home video release in the United States. I could be wrong, but it was definitely kind of buried, and he got Brando to be in it. And it's about this guy who basically agrees to be in a snuff film to lift his family out of poverty, I think is what the premise. Yeah, I know nothing about this movie, only in that like there was a lot of anticipation for it, and then it never had a US release. At least at the time didn't have a theatrical, and I don't know if anybody's ever gone back and put it out on DVD or Blu-ray or streaming or whatever. But okay.
And now he's doing a biopic about Modigliani, the artist. So
okay,
because he can,
apparently,
because he emerged unscathed from that whole thing, right? He has a career to go forth and make art.
Yes,
indeed.
He does.
Speaking of art, so the new Academy CEO has indicated that he wants to have all of the categories at the Oscars like actually given out live on air during the Oscar ceremony.
Great.
Bill Kramer is the new Academy CEO. He said in an interview with the Academy's official digital publication, this is not like an edict. This is not like, hey, here's a big announcement, but this is his indication as to where he would like things to go. And that sounds promising. Also, do you see that the Academy is apologizing to Sacheen Littlefeather?
I did. Good for them. It only took them 50 years, but great. And I think they're actually doing like a screening series around that at the museum, so that'll be cool.
They're doing some kind of like panel discussion and, for healing and education. And 50 years
a truth
later.
and reconciliation panel. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I guess
Speaking
what?
of Brando.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. That's a nice tie-in. Like John Wayne, I don't think I ever knew this. John Wayne was backstage, like furious and derisive about all this.
Tough guy John Wayne had to be held back from punching a woman because,
Bryce Dallas Howard reportedly made much less for the Jurassic World sequels compared to Chris Pratt. It was reported that he made $10 million a picture and she only made $8 million. But she did an interview recently in which she's like, oh, no. It was actually much less than that. Like the difference was much greater.
Sure.
But she said, to his credit, that he fought for her, that when there was something like a tie-in, like a game, like a toy, like an amusement park ride, like any opportunity for her to get more, she says that she will love him forever for fighting for her.
I mean, good for him. It is insane how this stuff works because, I mean, sure, on the one hand, they're going to argue, well, he came in, he'd been in the Marvel movies and the blah, 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 and his box office clout. But like, we've come to take it for granted that like women in this industry are going to be treated like crap. But if you're going to treat Ron Howard's daughter like crap, like she knows how this whole game is played. She ostensibly has like really savvy management. If she can't get a fair deal out of Universal, like what actress can walk into that lion's den and feel like they're going to get a fair shake?
Plus, she had to run from dinosaurs in heels.
In heels, yes, exactly.
Right?
She did everything Chris Pratt did backward into heels.
She did. We've got all kinds of Olivia Wilde news. Olivia Wilde and Olivia Wilde adjacent news.
Oh boy.
The Daily Mail got a hold of some of the documentation with her split from Jason Sudeikis, and it's not pretty, and it's this ugly custody battle. They have 2 kids, a son and a daughter, and I guess they had lived in New York, and the deal was like they can live in New York or LA as far as school goes. But then she wants to move to London with Harry Styles.
Right. I think maybe he moved to LA and then she announced that she was going to go to London or something. I thought I read that in there. Maybe
and then he has been in London a lot for Ted Lasso,
right?
But that's not their home, and so they've been able to like share custody while they're all in London together. But she wants to stay there permanently, and I mean, shit. Harry Styles wrote a song about this, right? As it was goes, "Leave America, 2 kids follow her." That's about Olivia Wilde.
All right. I'm not a Harry Stylesologist, so I will.
No, neither am I. But that line was like, ooh, scandal. He's inserting himself in their custody battle. So
well, and I know that like she's apparently rightly annoyed about how the whole process server thing happening at Cinecon or whatever the CinemaCon.
Yep.
But he claims that like that was in no way his design. That was the process server sort of took it upon themselves to like choose that moment in that venue to do it. I don't even know.
And then we have Florence Pugh being interviewed recently too. She of course stars in Olivia Wilde's new movie, Don't Worry Darling, which is premiering at Venice.
Yes.
She and Zach Braff have broken up. Did you know they were together?
I did know they were together because I knew like a lot of it's that thing where, internet scolds love to get on the case of a younger woman dating an older man, even if that younger woman is in her 20s. Yeah. It's not like, famous comedian, marries 18-year-old he's known since she was 5 or something. Like she's an adult woman. She can date whoever she wants,
Yeah.
So I did know they were a thing, and I guess now they're not a thing.
Yeah, there was a 21-year age difference between them, and they were together for about 3 years, and they have since broken up. But everyone had an opinion.
Oh yes.
On that one, Guillermo Del Toro, his Cabinet of Curiosities. We have a trailer for this now, and we have a lineup of directors who are doing each of these individual anthology segments. And it's like Anna Lily Amirpour and Catherine Hardwicke and some really interesting people. Some of them are horror people, some of whom are not horror people.
This is a feature film?
This is an anthology series.
Oh, it's a series. Oh, okay, cool.
Yes, and each episode is directed by a different person.
Do we know for whom, like Shudder or?
Isn't it Netflix?
Oh, okay. I don't know. This is literally the first time hearing about this. So,
Oh, Cabinet of Curiosity. Again,
cool.
I put it in the
I
email.
know. But if it's not in the email, sometimes I go research further, but I don't always.
The email is chock full of information.
Okay. This should be my starting point.
Wolfgang Peterson died. He was 81 years old. He died of pancreatic cancer at his home in Brentwood here in LA.
He had a really fascinating career because I mean I think people think of him as like this action guy, with In the Line of Fire and stuff, but like Das Boot, as much as it is an action movie, it's also this like super claustrophobic, intense wartime drama, and it was probably, I think, if I recall correctly, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it was one of the first films that got a wide audience in the United States anyway, and maybe even globally, that sort of depicted German soldiers as World War II as not necessarily all being like dyed in the wool, super gung ho about the Nazism part, but just like guys in the Navy, like they were there to serve their country, and maybe they did or didn't agree with the finer points of Hitler's philosophy, but the movie just kind of presents them as like they're these guys in this sub trying not to die. And the rest of it is sort of secondary, which I thought was a bold move at the time. And before that, he did a film called The Consequence, which is considered like a really groundbreaking queer film of the 1970s. So he had his hand in a lot of different genres.
Right, Air Force One and The Perfect Storm and Das Boot, and so lots of big action films. But as you point out, this interesting smaller sensibility there at the core.